Welcome to the Strike 3.0. This is how to use the tools. You're going to have to become really familiar with all the tools and all the components. So this first video training is just to familiarize you with all of the tools. There's a lot of moving pieces. After watching this video, you should understand exactly what each one does. Okay, so here's an overview of the chart, and I'm just going to go through and tell you what each thing does. So the first thing is over here is a buy and sell box. So one click, all you have to do is click buy and sell. And then over here you've got some support and resistance levels. You can see these levels, and I'm going to talk about all of this stuff later on. You've got the multi-trend tool. We've got 20 and 40 simple moving averages. And we have the double exhaustion bars, which are these two bars at the bottom. We have our spread tool, and we have the candle close and the pair tool, which just shows you what the pair is. So let's go ahead and jump through each item individually. Okay, so step one is the scanner. So the scanner shows us where we can find our setup. So the exhaustion bar, which was the two bars on the bottom, it has G2 and G3, R2 and R3. And all this scanner does is show you when those pairs are starting to line up. And I will go ahead in the next step and talk about the exhaustion indicator, but you'll just put this chart probably on your first chart or even in a different window depending on how many windows you use. I use multiple monitors, so I keep this separately on another window so I can always see where my setups are. And I just look at these setups. When you see a G2 or a G3, an R2 or an R3, then you go and look at the USD Swiss pair, and then you analyze that chart. And that's really all this does, is just to notify you when to go look at the chart. But it's important to know to have this up and to have it in either on a different tab or in a different window so you can take a look and know when a setup is occurring. And in a future video, we're going to go and tell you about how all those setups actually work. Okay, so the next tool is the multi-trend and exhaustion indicator. And you can see that you'll see this box on the chart, and this is a really cool tool because it shows you what is happening on the trend on every single time frame and what is happening on the exhaustion on every single time frame. So you can see here the 1 minute the trend is sideways, but on the 30-minute the trend is down, the 4-hour it's down, on the daily it's up, and on the weekly it's down. So this helps you because now if you're looking at a 5-minute chart, you know what the daily trend is. You're like, okay, I should probably be looking at buys because it's a daily upward movement. Or if you're a long-term trader, I want to look for sells because it's a downward movement. This is just powerful because even when you're zoomed in on a low time frame, you always know what's happening on each particular pair in the market. So this is really good. And then the exhaustion is the same thing. Those double exhaustion bars, which I'm going to get to on the next step, this shows you what they're doing on each step. It shows you if you're on each time frame. It shows you if you're overextended on a 15, overextended on a 30, overextended on an hour. So this again will help you to find setups and to know where you're at all times, no matter what time frame you're looking at. Extremely helpful tool, and we're going to show you how to use this with our strategy, the Strike 3.0 strategy, in a later video. Okay, the next step we're going to take a look at is the exhaustion bar. So let's take a look at the exhaustion bars. Okay, so these are the exhaustion bars, and the different setups that we have, there's only 4 setups. There's a G2, which is light green on 2 different time frames. Okay, and then there's G3, which is dark green, it's dark green on 2 different time frames. Now, you can see this is the odd dollar pair, and on the bottom you can see it says 15, and on the top is 30. Now, the way we program this is that this top indicator will always be on the 30-minute time frame. So if you can see up here, I switch it to an hourly, you'll notice that it stays on the 30. But the bottom one changes to whatever time frame I'm on. So if I go, right now I'm on the hourly, you see it's hourly. So it's not overextended right now. It's not a G3 on the hourly and the 30, but it is a G3 on the 15 and the 30. And what we're looking for is G3s on 15 and 30 for short-term trades. If we want to take a long-term trade, we're looking for a G3 on the hourly and the 30-minute, or maybe even the 4-hour and the 30-minute, or whatever combination you're looking for. But one thing is you'll know it's a G3 here, but you can actually look to this exhaustion indicator to see what's happening on multiple time frames. So on the 4-hour, it's sideways on the exhaustion. This exhaustion indicator is also the same as what you see here, but this makes it helpful because here you're only seeing 2 time frames. Over here you're seeing everything. And ultimately what we're trying to do for a setup, and we'll get into that later on, is we're trying to find G3 setups or R3 setups, and these will be green for that to match this, and they'll be red for R3, or orange. You'll see them over here, orange or red, based on the R3 setups. So let's just go ahead and take a look at these bars. You can see here we have one on the 30 and on the hourly. That's an R3. This is an R2. This is a G2 because it's 2 different time frames, light green. Here is an R2. This is a G2. Gray just means neutral. Okay, and you can do some back testing on this to see how good it works. This is an G3. Here is an R3. And basically when you see an R3, and we're going to go into the strategy later, but it means to sell. So that's pretty much it for these exhaustion indicators. So when you're in the trading room, you're going to know what a G2 is, you're going to know what a G3 is, an R3, and an R2. That's all that terminology means, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at the other stuff of this template here right now. So let's go ahead and jump back to the slides. Alright, so the next thing we're going to take a look at is the levels and the moving averages. So let's go back to the charts here, and you'll notice that we have these levels here, and this will only appear on the lower time frames because when we jump to a higher time frame, they'll be too close together, so we won't see those levels. But what this does is you'll notice that it says HOD, current HOD, and prior HOD. You have 00, 50, current LOD, and prior LOD. So the current HOD is the current daily candle high of the day. And the reason we put that in is because a lot of times the price will either stop on the high of the day and turn around, or it will also be a breakout trade at the high of the day. And the same thing with the prior high of the day. So if we're trading on a lower time frame, we want to know what's happening on the daily because the daily rules the charts. And so everything that we do is on a lower time frame, but we're always keeping track of the overall bigger time frame. That's why we have tools like this and tools like the levels. All the 0 is it's a psychological level. So if you see my crosshair over to the left or over to the right, you can see it's 7,200, right where my crosshair's at. So it's a 00. We put that because price will bounce at the 00 many times. Take a look at this. You see we have a 00. It bounced 18 pips off of that, and that might not seem like a lot, but for a trader who knows what they're doing, 18 pips is a lot of pips. And the same thing with the 50. This particular trade crushed right through the 50, but when it comes back up, it might touch this 50 and bounce down. So the 50 and the 0 are really important levels that we like to watch for bounces or breakouts. So that's it for that. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the moving averages, which you'll see here. This is a 20 period and a 40, and the way we use this is we use it to identify the trend. If it's below the moving average, it's a downtrend. If it's above, it's an uptrend. Like over here, you see here's an uptrend, back over here this is a downtrend. Now this is only a 15-minute time frame, but every time frame does the same thing. Now you might say, well, why do we have that when we have this? Well, this is just another visual representation to help us in our trading, because one of our strategies that we like to look at is for the price to bounce into these moving averages and then go short, into the moving averages and go short, into the moving averages and go short. And then the same thing with a uptrend. It popped up into the moving averages and up, into the moving averages and up, into the moving averages and up. And it doesn't work every time, but it works a lot, and when you combine it with all of our other tools, then it really helps quite a bit. So that's the levels and the moving averages. Now the next component that we're going to take a look at is the spread pair label and the one-click tool. And this is going to only take a few seconds. This is pretty easy, but let's go ahead and take a look at it. So first, I'm going to remove this indicator here, this multi-trend, so we can actually see the spread here. It gets in the way because I had to scrunch it up. If I have it at full screen, I can see everything. But you can see it says spread 8 points. Okay, that is good to know, because the lower the spread, the more money that you can make. We want to make a lot of money, so we want to have a tighter spread. If the news comes out and the spread jumps to like 5 pips, well, then we know that we want to sit on the sidelines until it drops down and we can get a better spread. If you need information on good spreads, I recommend sending me an email, and I can get you a special deal from our Traders Way broker. They have extremely good spreads. If you take a look at our euro dollar chart, the euro dollar has really good spreads as well. It's a great, let's take a look at this euro dollar. You can see I got to remove this here real quick. Indicators list, multi-trend, delete. And you can see the spread here is 0.6 pips. It sometimes even drops down to 0.2, 0.3. Really good spread on the euro dollar. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to take a look at is the one-click tool. This is simply a button right here. You just click this little arrow, open, close, and then you set your size, 0.1, that's a mini lot, or you go 1.0, that's a standard, or you just do 0.01, that's a micro lot. Just to help you do your trade size, and then you just click buy and sell, and you can instantly buy or sell your trades. Makes it very, very easy. And then the next thing we have the next close here, and what that does, the next close will tell you is what time your candle is closing, and it tells you whatever time frame you're. So if you're on the 30, it'll say 18 minutes or whatever. Hourly, it'll say however till the next hourly. And the reason we do that is because we like to know if it's doing a breakout or if we're getting an exhaustion. We want to know if it's going to close in the direction that we're looking for. And then the last thing is this label, USD Swiss, and it's scrunched up right now because I had to scrunch it up to record, but normally I can see it really good because let me see if I can stretch it out. There you go. So I stretched it out. I scrunched it up so you could see really tight in the video. But it says next close. That's what time the candle closes, and then USD Swiss is the pair, and whatever pair we're on, you'll be able to see that. And the reason we do that is mainly for you guys when you're in the trading room. It's like, oh, I know what pair I'm on, but also sometimes it can be hard to see this or the little label up on the top corner up here. If you're in the trading room with me and you want to know what pair I'm on, I always keep this open so that you can see where I'm at, because sometimes I might be in 2 trades at a time, so this will help you know what pairs I'm looking at. Okay, so that's a complete tutorial on what our scanner and multi-trend and all the Strike 3.0 tools consist of. That's a complete tutorial. The next video, we're going to be teaching you the strategies and how the setups actually work. All right, well, thank you. And don't forget to take the quiz, because in order to go to the next step, you got to take the quiz. Thank you.